What's up, you guys? Welcome back to the channel. The main point of today's video is going to be installing a seat riser kit on my Talaria Sting R. Now, a lot of you know that I am pretty tall. I'm 6'3", and so this bike feels a little bit small to me. I have really long legs. So we are going to be installing a Dirty Bike Industries seat riser kit that basically raises up the seat frame and raises up the battery lid. So we're gonna give that a try. I'm really curious to see how it goes and see if it will make the bike more comfortable for me and more comfortable for you as a taller rider. We're also gonna be installing some Dirty Bike pegs onto Reed's bike because his pegs are no good, so we're excited to try these pegs out. We're gonna install a longer rear seat fender, which will be super nice to have. Also a Talaria Sting R mud guard from Dirty Bike. And then also we're going to be installing some front and rear wheel bearings for the stock Talaria wheels. Now the bearings that come in these wheels are not super high end, and sometimes they can develop some play and some wobble, and that is exactly what happened to my Sting MX3. And so we're going to cut back later in this video to me actually installing a set of wheel bearings on my MX3, and then I actually am still running those wheels. So I moved a lot of the parts from my MX3 to my MX4, and I sold all the brand new parts on my MX3. So these are still the wheels that I installed those bearings on, and you'll see later in the video that they totally solved my problem. But we're gonna start by installing the seat riser kit and see how that goes. So your first step on the seat riser kit is to remove this bolt, and this bolt on both sides of the bike. So Reed's gonna quickly do that. Then your next step is we're gonna be installing these pieces along the subframe here and all the way up to the front of the battery lid, and that's gonna raise us up. So we'll remove those and then we will show you what goes where. So Reed got all the bolts removed, so this subframe is gonna come off now. You're gonna be left with all of these bolts. So these 6 bolts right here are the ones you pulled off your bike. These 6 bolts are the ones that come with the kit. You're gonna put some blue thread locker, a little bit on all of these bolts, and then we'll install them. Okay, we're gonna pull the subframe off. Comes off just like that. There is a wire right here to unplug for your tail light.
Alright guys, we're gonna be taking off this lid now. You just open it up. There's 2 little C clips, one on each side. You just get those off, and these will just pull right out, and the lid will just come right off. Lance is getting the thread locker put on all the bolts, ready to go. Then we're gonna put each spacer on here. Raise it up nice.
Reed removed the lid and got the C-clips off, and we have put on all the riser brackets for this side of the bike. Now they are side specific, so you guys will have to look at the directions here. It makes it pretty simple to know which side is which, or you can take a quick look at what I have right here. This is the 3D printed one, so this goes on the back of the lid, and then this is a metal bracket for the front of the lid. You'll use the hardware that comes with the riser kit for the bottom, and then you'll use the existing hardware that you removed to reinstall the lid and the whole seat assembly to the top. We left most of the brackets just slightly loose until we get the full seat assembly and lid on so that we can line them all up and make sure that everything fits really nice. We got both sides on, so now we're going to grab the seat assembly and we're going to put that on. So here's where you'll take your OEM bolts, and again you're going to want to install all of these before you tighten any of them down so you can make sure that they all fit nicely. Installing the seat assembly was a breeze. Everything lined up really well, and we got all the bolts in on both sides, and then we cinched them all down. You definitely do not want to over tighten these ones. They're a smaller bolt, just be careful with that. These ones you can go nice and tight and use that blue thread locker. All in all, that was super simple. Let's throw the lid on.
It's gonna sit
Oh
kinda
yeah,
like that.
That's gonna line up super nice. That clipped right in. We'll throw the bolts back in that came off the seat right there. And then there is a gap here. So, I don't know, that's personal preference, whatever you think about that. They do say that you can fit some taller batteries inside here without having to do a taller battery door, so that's nice. I don't know exactly which ones will fit in there, but maybe that's something we'll test in the future. Once you have the lid installed, you'll go underneath here and reinstall your C-clips. right there. Your final step, guys, is to install this foam wedge to keep your battery secure and your door from rattling.
So it replaces this one.
Yeah, so you'll take this wedge off and you'll unpeel the stick, stick it right there just like you did for this one. You'll just line it up, and the easiest way is to close your lid on it. There you go, stuck in the exact right spot.
Alright guys, we got that all finished up, all bolted down good. Lance is gonna go give it a try.
Ooh, that actually feels really nice. It just feels like just a little bit bigger bike. It's actually really comfy. I like it. I'm gonna really have to put this to the test and see how it goes, but like the bike just feels a little bit bigger, and I mean, I can still totally touch the ground. It's not like a giant bike, but it feels really good.
Yeah, it looks a little funky, but it's really not that bad.
Yeah, looks a little
I think
weird,
if you took your foam out of there,
yeah,
it would look better. Yeah, it's really not that bad looking.
I think a lot of people online think that doing a seat riser like this is like a huge difference. It's gonna like make the bike like way too tall and be like kind of goofy, but it actually feels really nice. Like just first impressions is like, I like it. I like it. Next, we're gonna install the long rear fender. Grab a 10mm socket and you'll remove these nuts, and then if you have a Sting R, you'll have this extra bracket. Remove the 3 Phillips screws, and then we'll show you how to actually pull it off without removing the front of your seat.
While Lance is getting that longer fender put on, I'll show you guys how to do this. So I actually already put one of these on my bike a couple days ago. It looks really good. I actually trimmed mine just a little bit right here so that I could still use my fender, and it looks really good. We're gonna show you guys how to do it the right way with actually removing this fender, and it fits right there.
So once you have the 2 nuts and the 3 Phillips screws removed, what you're gonna do is you're gonna gently bend your seat out of the way. You pull your fender off of these, and you'll just grab your new one, and you'll bend it up again, slide it under, get those bolts to line up. There you go, and then you'll just replace your 2 nuts and your 3 Phillips screws. Do not over tighten these Phillips screws because they're screwing into plastic on the bottom of your seat. So be careful with that. These you can go nice and tight onto your metal frame.
Okay, I got these 8mm nuts taken off, and I got this fender taken off.
Well, we just realized something about the shock mud protector. Because we installed the seat riser kit, it no longer fits. It's just not long enough to span the gap. So you can't run this with a seat riser kit, so just take our word that it does work really good. This is the exact same Dirty Bike one. Reed installed it on his. It's working great. If you want to install it a little bit different way, the way it shows on the directions is to remove this fender, and then you'll just attach it directly to there. But we modified it a little. I think it works really good this way. The longer rear fender looks really nice on there. I'm excited. Hopefully that helps in the rain a little bit. Sometimes we get muddy. Sometimes it rains when we ride. It'll be super nice. Okay, let's get these Dirty Bike pegs put on Reed. So check what Reed's running here. He's got the OEM brackets, but we tried these pegs from China and they just didn't fit quite right, and they have no springs. So he's been riding like this for like a month.
Yeah, I have tried like 3 or 4 different kinds of springs on here. None of them work. So yeah, I'm excited to get ones that actually have springs.
Yeah. There'll be links in description, guys, for all these parts. Go check them out on Dirty Bike's website, and they're super nice. All right, this is a peg how-to right here.
So you got a C-clip here. You're just gonna get your pliers. It's really not that hard. You just kind of get the edge of it, and then it's almost there. There it is. That comes off, washer comes off. You just pull that right out. Super easy.
Normally when you pull this bolt out, there will be a spring in there from your stock peg, but it still comes out pretty dang easy. These pegs are designed to work right on the OEM bracket. They come with the springs you need. They even come with extra little screws here. If you ever lost one, these little things you can thread right in there. So let's show you how to line up these springs.
So I'm just gonna put it in there, put the bolt in, but only halfway in.
So you'll get it so it can hold this side of the peg.
And then you get the spring. This end goes towards the peg, this end goes towards the bike. And you kind of just put it right there.
You basically sandwich it and then you smash it down.
While you push your bolt in, just like that.
Yeah, so you grab that spring, hook it on the sides, sandwich it in just enough that you can jam that bolt in, and then you're back and you just put your C-clip right on the end, and that's it. Look how solid. Those are super solid, you guys. Wow, those are some of the most solid pegs we've ever tried. Super nice spring to them. Those are gonna be great.
So, washer, C-clip, and this side's done. Get your pliers. Boom. Super easy to do. You definitely need pegs. If you're still running stock pegs, that's the first upgrade I would do.
Literally the very first upgrade you do to a Talaria is the pegs.
Did work, but not having springs is not good.
Yeah. Reed got the other peg put on. We're gonna now insert the footage of me installing the upgraded wheel bearings on the front and back wheel on my Talaria wheels. So we'll insert that and then we'll catch you guys in a second. Okay, our next part upgrade is gonna be the front wheel bearings. I've got 2,600 miles on my Talaria here, and my front wheel bearings are pretty much shot. They don't feel very good, and there's a lot of play in them now. It's hard for you to see that wiggle, but it's totally wiggling, and it makes sound, and I can feel that play when I ride. I assure you, my axle is tight, my pinch bolts are tight, I have a very high-end fork upgrade, and they're just getting worse and worse. So, we're gonna throw in the Dirty Bike upgraded bearings, and I think they are gonna be so much nicer. And at the same time, I am gonna be throwing on this 2-piece Stag floating rotor. Shout out to them for helping us out. We'll put a link in our description. All right, my axle is loose. Pop that out. My wheel off. Now your wheel has these little caps on it, and those are just kind of to line up your fork. So there's the bearings in there. They don't feel great. They're not the worst bearings I've felt, but I'm sure the new ones are gonna be so much better. All right guys, so you can do this several ways, removing your bearings. It's normally not that hard. There is like full-on bearing removal tools. We're not gonna be doing that. I don't have one of those. So I'm just gonna be using a flathead screwdriver. I'm gonna just put it straight through the wheel, and you can rest it on the lip of the bearing on the other side. And then you're just gonna gently tap it out, and if you need to, you can move around to the other side. Okay, so that was one side, one bearing out, and then my sleeve goes in the middle. You're gonna wanna clean this up because it's gonna go right back in. And then here's the bearing. Yeah, that feels pretty bad compared to the new ones. We're just gonna use the same flathead for the other side. Okay, we are almost out. One more hit. There we go. There it is, a bearingless wheel. Both our old bearings here, and our sleeve. We're gonna clean this up with a couple paper towels. It's looking pretty clean. And then clean this up, and we'll put the new ones in. Okay, this is what is included in your kit. You get 2 brand new bearings, and you actually get some rubber O-rings as well, which go on your end caps that stick out here. So those have O-rings on them, so I'm going to be replacing those with the new ones. Super nice that they include those because sometimes you lose those. And we got our center spacer all cleaned up. I cleaned these as well. I cleaned out the wheel. And now what we're going to do, since I don't have a dedicated bearing press, this is your next method, is to find a socket. That's the easiest way that basically is flush with the bearing. Now in this case, a 22 mil socket is pretty much a perfect fit. You want a socket that can actually sit in here and not get stuck. It barely fits, but it does fit. What you don't want to do is pound on the inner rings. That could ruin your bearing. You want to be putting pressure on just the very outside metal ring of your bearing. So we're going to just do one. We'll line it up nice and straight here, pound it in, and then we will slide our sleeve in from the other side and pound the last one in. Okay, all right, that went in super easy. Just go nice and slow. There it is. So it's going to sit against the wall, which is built into the wheel, and that just feels butter smooth. So that is good to go. Let's slide our bearing spacer in there. I'm going to flip this over to the other side. You'll notice I took off my brake rotor since I'm going to be replacing it. That's something that may be worth doing if you are changing your bearings, because you don't want to put any pressure on that brake rotor and bend it. All right, we're going to slide our bearing spacer sleeve in there. Now we're going to line this one up. Okay, we are all the way in. Those feel super nice. Both sides are good to go. Now we're gonna just switch out these little O-rings. Pop that off, pop on a new one. Just a little bit of grease on the outside of the bearings here. Okay, I really hope that's gonna fix my play issue. All right, I went ahead and got the new Stag 220mm floating two-piece rotor installed. I'm gonna throw on this Warp 9 220mm adapter onto my brake caliper, because I'm going from a 200mm rotor to the upgraded 220. So I'm gonna quickly just throw this on, and then we're gonna put the wheel on, see if my play is gone. I'm super excited. All right, I got the 220mm Warp 9 rotor adapter. Time for the moment of truth. All right, guys, wheel is on. Here's the moment of truth. Let's wiggle it, see what happens. Oh, yes, there's no play, none. Guys, I've been waiting for this forever. Get yourself some Dirty Bike front wheel bearing kit right now. Seriously, we're gonna do the back in a minute. The back actually feels good, but with how nice this feels, like, yeah, I haven't adjusted my brake rotor yet, but that feels so much smoother than before. I'm not gonna really show you guys how to take your wheel off. I'm not gonna do a real in-depth tutorial on that. There are other videos showing you how to do that. We've done it lots of times on our channel. So we're just gonna pop it off, and then it's pretty much just the same procedure as the front in getting your bearings off. So on the back wheel, you actually have two kind of rubber spacers that are on the outside, and then your bearing is actually all the way in here. They include the new rubber kind of spacers and then the bearings as well. So what you gotta do is you've actually just gotta pry kind of this thing out, and then you can get to the bearing, and it's the same procedure as before, where you go through the other side and you tap out the bearing, and then you pull the center sleeve out and then the other side of the bearing. So that was super easy to pop out. It's probably totally like reusable, honestly, so I'm gonna save it. And my bearings, these ones are better than the front, but they're still like pretty dang sticky compared to these. These feel really nice. All right, guys, we got those bearings out in the sleeve. The rear took a lot more effort than the front. It took a ton more force. Like I showed you, one of those bearings was kind of rusted, so it was kind of rusted actually to the hub, but I was able to still do it. I had to use like a bigger kind of pry bar instead of a screwdriver at times, but I was able to get them out, and now we're gonna get the new ones put back in. I've cleaned all of the inside here, both sides, and I cleaned our kind of center sleeve that goes between the bearings. And now we're just going to push those bearings in. I think this time I'm gonna be using a 24mm socket. I'm gonna look in case there's another size that fits better, but that one's pretty dang close. So we're gonna just be gentle with it and go for that. Okay, we're going. All right, we got the first side all the way in. We're gonna flip it over, put our sleeve in. We hope you guys found this video super helpful. We are super excited to try the seat riser kit, and we're gonna really be putting it to the test. So you guys will have to stay tuned on other videos throughout our channel as we do rides and stuff. We'll let you know how we are liking the seat riser kit and the rest of the parts on there. I'm sure Reed is gonna absolutely love those new pegs. The wheel bearings have been treating me well for the last couple of weeks. I still have zero play in the wheels like I showed you guys in that clip. Sadly, I can't run the rear mud guard, but that's okay. I will sacrifice that to try that seat riser kit, and Reed gets to ride a mud flap. That's gonna wrap up the video, guys. Please consider subscribing. We are having a blast with this channel, and we have lots more cool stuff on the way. We'll catch you guys next video. See ya.